Well, boys and girls, congratulations. You have made it through 7th grade math. Now's the part where we go back and we review a couple of the things that are muy important for you to remember. We're going all the way back to chapter 1 now. And this should go rather quickly because we've been using this stuff all year. But just as a quick review, we're finding the absolute value of these numbers. And I'm not going to do all of them for you, but I'm going to do these two middle columns. So remember, the absolute value is how far this is from 0. You can just look at it and say it's positive. So this would be, for number 5, the answer is positive 6. And for number 6, the answer is positive 10. For number 9 here, the answer is 13. Now sometimes that'll trick some kids and they'll try to say negative 13, but there is no such thing as a negative absolute value. This one, number 10, would be positive 7. Number 13, positive 8. Number 14, 0. That's the only absolute value that's not positive because remember, 0 is neither negative nor positive. It's the only exception in the entire world. Number 17. The absolute value of negative 45 is 45. And for number 18, the absolute value of 60 is 60. Notice there are no negative numbers here because you cannot find an absolute value and get a negative number. Next thing we did this year was adding integers. Well, it's quite the same as adding numbers, except integers are adding whole numbers like you used to do, but adding integers now includes the negatives. So sometimes we're adding a positive and a positive. That's easy. We've been doing that since kindergarten. But sometimes we're adding a positive and a negative and a positive, or a negative and a negative. So let's look again at this central column here. And remember, same sign, we're going to add the numbers and keep the sign. Different sign, we subtract the numbers and we keep the sign of whichever one was the larger number. Now, when I say larger number, of course, I mean the larger number part, or you could think of it as the number, the absolute value. Let's look at number 9. We have negative 4 and negative 6. They're both negative, so same sign. I add the number part, and I keep the sign, negative 10. Number 10. Negative 2 plus negative 3. Again, same sign, so I add and keep. Don't forget the keep part. Number 13. 8 plus negative 8. Different sign. So now I subtract the number parts. 8 minus 8, I get 0. And 0 is neither negative nor positive, which makes sense because I'm supposed to keep the sign of the larger number part. And there is no larger number part. They're the same. So just 0. This is an example of adding opposites. 8 and negative 8 are opposites, and whenever we add opposites, we get 0. Number 14. 9 plus negative 11. Well, not the same sign. I have a positive and a negative. When I combine those two, I subtract their number parts. So 11 take away 9 is 2, and I keep the sign of the larger absolute value. 11 has the larger absolute value, so it stays negative for the 11. Number 17, negative 3 plus negative 1, same sign, add and keep. Number 18. 14 plus a negative 5, different sign, so I subtract the numbers to get 9, and this one will stay positive for the 14, not negative for the negative 5. So positive for the 14, I don't have to put a sign there, it's understood to be positive. Number 21. Negative 13 plus 9, different sign. I subtract. I keep the sign of the larger number, which is the negative. And 18 plus a negative 18. Another example of adding opposites, much like in number 13. When you add opposites, you get a sum of 0. Then we did go on to subtracting integers, which is much like addition of integers. But we do have one little thing to do. Whenever we see these two negatives next to each other, remember we turn that into a big plus. So we'll do these two central columns again. Number 9, 8 minus negative 5 is the same as 8 plus 5. which is 13. Number 10. -6 minus -7 is the same as -6 plus 7. Different sign, so I subtract. And I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, which is the positive. So it stays positive. Number 13. -4 minus 6. I don't have a double two minus signs here, so I do not make this a big plus. Here I just have a -4 and a -6. Same sign, so I add and I keep the sign. Number 14. -8 minus -3. Oh, I got that minus a negative again, which turns that into a +3. Different sign, so I subtract, and I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, which in this case is the negative. So negative wins out and gets to keep its sign. Yay! Number 17. 15 minus a -2 is the same as 15 plus 2, which hopefully you know is 17. Number 18. -9 minus -13 minus a negative is a plus. So it's -9 plus 13. Different sign, so I subtract the numbers and I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, which is the positive number here. Number 21. -10 minus 12. I have the same sign here. I have a -10. I have a -12. When I add those together, I get -22. Add and keep. Last one, number 22. 32 minus -6, which is the same as 32 plus 6. And 32 plus 6 is 38. Well, I hope that quick review was nice and easy for you. You do need to go over and answer the questions. Pay attention to what numbers we're talking about. I'll put the problem in the question because we did a lot of them here. I want to make sure you know which question I'm talking about. Good luck.